Welcome back everyone. We're going to be doing another comparison today between the Pixel 4a, the newly released Pixel 4a, and the kind of not really that old but older iPhone XR. And I got a lot of requests to do this video, which is really random. I don't know why. So if this video gets a lot of, or doesn't get any views, I'm going to be really sad. But basically, the Pixel 4a is that new $350 phone from Google, which is really cool. And I think these budget phones are probably the most important phones of 2020, or just going forward for the rest of our life. Anytime I make a video about like some super premium phone, nobody really cares, but these budget phones, a lot of people care about. And the iPhone XR was a budget phone from 2018 that Apple released, and I think this phone is great. I still think it's a great pickup. I don't really talk about it that much, even though I should. But I think both of these have the pros and cons. There's some differences between both, and even just looking on the front, this thing used to cost $750. This thing cost $350 brand new, and those were the brand new price for the iPhone XR too. And just looking on the front, you would probably assume that the Pixel 4a was the more premium, newer flagship phone, but that's not really the case. So if you want to pick up a used iPhone XR, I'll find the cheapest one on Amazon and link it down in the description below so you can get it from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now looking on the front, I'll go and start off with the iPhone XR since it is the older one. We have a 6.1 inch liquid retina IPS panel on this, and the resolution is 828 by 1792, and it's not a bad looking panel, you know what I mean? You have a notch up top even though it doesn't look like it because of the wallpaper, and I think it's a really good panel. I don't really have too much to hate on it, like I've stated a billion times. Now obviously when it first came out I kind of hated on it, but now I think I'm pretty much used to it, and it's a very good panel for it being the $750 phone that it is. But it's just weird when you look at the Pixel 4a and look at this, it's just weird how much better Google was able to do on this panel than they were on this panel. So I'm not really too sure what happened, but it is what it is. The panel looks good for the most part for the price that you're paying for now, but for $750 I still don't even know if it's worth it, to be honest, especially compared to something like the Pixel 4a. But you have True Tone on it too, which is really nice. But when you look at something like the Google Pixel 4a screen, I mean, this thing has a 5.81 inch panel, and there's some pros and cons with this panel too, but the biggest highlights is that it's a 1080p, so it's higher resolution than the iPhone XR. But on top of that, getting that hole punch display, which is so awesome. That is something that a ton of phones have nowadays, but for a budget phone, you're expected to have like super thick bezels, at least for the most part. And for this phone to have this nice of a screen, I think is very important. Now, the screen itself isn't like crazy nice, it's very reflective. So compared to something like the iPhone XR, you might have been able to see through even just the beginning of this video. You're able to see more light coming in on the display, and it's way more reflective. You can see my thing right there. That's why I still kind of prefer more premium feeling screens, like the ones on the Galaxies and the ones on the iPhones, but still I think this panel, for the way it looks and for the price of this thing, is very impressive in my opinion. So in terms of the panels, I think I would probably give this one to the Pixel 4a. In terms of the sizes though, I should have shown you at the beginning, the iPhone XR is slightly bigger than the Pixel 4a, as you can see, probably in every angle. When I feel both in the hand, I can kind of tell that the iPhone XR is a little bit wider. Not necessarily taller, but even though it's a little taller, I can just kind of sense that it's a little bit wider. So kind of keep that in mind. If you don't like wide phones, then that's kind of important. Now the thickness wise, I don't really think one is way thicker than the other one. It's just the iPhone XR definitely feels way more premium than the Pixel 4a. I mean, this thing is pretty much built out of plastic in every direction. This thing, has aluminum on the sides and has really nice feeling buttons. The Pixel 4a is pretty much plastic in every single way. But you can kind of see maybe the iPhone XR is a little bit thinner, but it's kind of hard to tell. One I don't think is way thinner or thicker than the other one. And on the back, single camera setups on both that I'll get to in a second. Fingerprint sensor on the back of the Pixel 4a, and glass back on the iPhone XR. And I don't know, the Pixel 4a is plastic. There's some even like decent feeling plastic phones out there. The Pixel 4a does not feel that premium at all. It's definitely a pretty cheap feeling plastic phone. I feel like Google spent all their money on the screen, it seems like. But the iPhone XR's glass back is still fairly good in my opinion, and it gets the job done. I think it feels very good, and it feels still like a very premium feeling phone for the most part. So definitely when it comes down to it, I want to say I think the iPhone XR pretty much wins in every other direction besides the screen, but the Pixel 4a probably wins in the screen department. The Pixel 4a also has a headphone jack up there, if you could see, so that's really cool if you like that. And you get that capability on the Pixel 4a still. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up. You also have IP certification on the iPhone XR as well. I always forget to mention that. The Pixel 4a does not have any IP certification at all. So now I think we're ready to move on to the software experience and all that. Now, there's stock software on both, so stock iOS obviously and stock Android, which is really nice. I love stock Android. I hate skins and all that stuff. It's just so annoying. So on both, I mean, again, it's just up to you whether you like iOS, whether you like Android. You have that experience on both, so figure that out and pick which phone you like from that. But what I will tell you though is that software lifecycle wise, you are probably going to be getting more software updates from an iPhone XR than a Pixel 4a. So they're both still going to be lasting for quite a bit of time from this point. So whether you get this one or this one in this day and age, it really doesn't matter. They're both going to be lasting for a very long time. But 2-3 years from now, I feel like the Pixel 4a is going to be out, where the iPhone XR is still going to be there for a while at least. So I would say at least like a year or two extra software lifecycle on the iPhone XR than on the Pixel 4a. I know that's very weird English, but that's kind of what I'm seeing there. So in terms of the software, that pretty much covers it up. Now go and hit on the performance on both, and I'll tell you the specs right now. The Pixel 4a has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G chipset, octa-core CPU, and 6 gigs of RAM, where the iPhone XR has that Apple A12 Bionic chip, X-core CPU, and 3 gigs of RAM on all the models. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between these two. Okay, let's go and clear all the apps in the background, and as you can see we have a couple of them, so let me just get these out of the way. So they're both cleaned up right now, so let me just load up these third-party apps that I downloaded a while ago. Let's do Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone XR was actually a little bit faster than the Pixel 4a. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And I think the Pixel 4a was actually a little bit faster there. And right here you can kind of tell, I think the Pixel 4a screen looks a little bit better than the iPhone XR's in this specific case. And there is like direct sunlight right here, but you still may see that the reflection is a little bit higher on the Pixel 4a. Now let me go ahead and turn this screen up a little bit. Let's do Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. And I think we might be in the game on both. If I am, I'll have to restart. No, I'm not. Okay, great. And the Pixel 4a I think was just a little bit ahead of the iPhone XR. Let's get into some gameplay. And as usual, I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference at all. Yep, they look almost identically the same. Let's do Netflix. 3, 2, 1. And it looks like the Pixel 4a was faster, followed by the iPhone XR just a little bit behind it. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. And Pixel 4a faster. iPhone XR again, a little bit behind right there. Let's go and do Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe the Pixel 4, actually I was going to say iPhone XR, but then I misspoke and then it ended up being the Pixel 4a. But they both seem kind of close. Okay, the Pixel 4a definitely faster. The iPhone XR was definitely behind it, which it is what it is. Let's get into some gameplay, see if there's any big difference. And I don't think there is going to be, but it's still worth playing, and yeah, they're about the same. Let's go do Instagram, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Pixel 4a faster. Let's go do Real Racing, 3, 3, 2, 1. Still a little glitchiness on the Pixel 4a, it's totally okay. And I don't know why I keep getting these random glitchy like things happening on the iPhones for some reason. I don't know why. But it's all of them that are on iOS 14, so that might be a little bit of an issue as well. And as you can see, the Pixel 4a was already loaded. It was pretty much loaded from the beginning with. And the iPhones, I think this one still needs to load. So I think what I can tell you from just the beginning of this comparison, I think the iPhone XR is just a little bit slower than the Pixel 4a. But I think that's pretty temporary, and that's kind of expected because the iPhone XR is, an older device. It's not supposed to be compared to this necessarily, but it's still pretty interesting to see how well a budget phone holds up compared to an older, budget phone from another company. But again, these were going for two different demographics in my opinion. $350 here, $750 here. So with that being said, let's go and hit on the cameras very briefly. Like I stated before, single camera setups on both, a single 12 megapixel wide angle lens on the iPhone XR, and a single 12.2 megapixel lens on the Pixel 4a. And the camera quality, the features and everything, I think the Pixel 4a is pretty good, but I still think the iPhone XR has a better camera sensor, and that's for one reason. You're able to do 4K at 60 on the iPhone XR, where you can only do 4K at 30 on the Pixel 4a. And I think for a majority of people that may be okay, but I still think the quality of the camera and even maybe just the software itself is a little bit better on the iPhone XR. I feel like with the Pixel 4a, it's just a little bit of a strange experience, and one really annoying thing, whenever I use my Pixel 4a, it never tells if I'm like in portrait or not, if I'm in landscape mode. So I don't know why that happens. Make sure I have my auto rotate on, and that's not working, but that's kind of a minor thing. That's why I didn't bring it up before, but other than that, I think the iPhone XR has a better camera sensor. On the front, 8 megapixel sensor on the Pixel 4a, and a 7 megapixel sensor on the iPhone XR. And even here still, I would still probably say the iPhone XR has the better camera sensor for sure. Now hitting on the battery life, you're getting a 2,942 mAh battery on the iPhone XR, On the Pixel 4a, you're getting a 3,140 mAh battery. Now both these phones have pretty good battery life, but I think the iPhone XR may just be the winner here, and it's mostly because of the battery life, but you also have wireless charging on the iPhone XR. On the Pixel 4a, you do not have any wireless charging, which is pretty insane. I don't know why they did that, but it is what it is. We can't go back in time and fix it. So the iPhone XR I think is the winner there too. Now to kind of sum up this video, if I personally had to go and pick one of these phones up, which one would I pick up? I'd probably pick up the iPhone XR. To be honest, I think this phone is probably the better one between these two, but I still think the Pixel 4a for a brand new device, it's such a killer phone. You're getting almost better performance than the iPhone XR. You're getting really good battery life, the headphone jack, USB Type-C, a pretty good screen. The iPhone XR just happens to be, better built, has wireless charging, great cameras, and battery life is really great too on here. So it's really up to you, but I pretty much gave you all the information for you to make the decision yourself. That's kind of pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.